Hello, this is Shariananda, clairvoyant medium with life coaching and spiritual advising. I am here again at Topics to talk to you this week about long distance relationships. I got a letter from R, and R says, I have entered into a new romance that is long distance and would appreciate guidance with how to navigate this or how it will turn out. So I wrote her back a blessing, which is, R, may the love of your life be the one that you are working with, and may it unfold easily and fulfillingly. And then I went on to give some cautions. I'm an expert myself at long distance relationships. As a matter of fact, having come to Denmark to live with the love of my life is probably the culmination of many years of being with others with whom I had cultivated long distance relationships. And so I think I might be something of an expert on some of the ins and outs, and I'd be very happy to share what I have come to know. One of the first things I recommend to you is try not to create a person that doesn't exist out of your loved one. You will talk often on the phone and you'll get ideas about what they're like, and you have written on your own heart a description or a thought about what your divine love, your right love, your perfect love, your soulmate will be like. So don't impose any of those ideals or images or wishes or visions or fantasies on the one you're with as much as possible. Do know that in the matter of courtship and in the matter of dating online, everything's fair in love and war. So people represent themselves in their best light. And often we think that that is the ideal. So be prepared for the person that you're dealing with long distance to be a real person just like yourself, and try to keep it as natural as possible. The second thing I'd like to caution you about is having reasonable expectations around calling. When you call your loved one, it would be very good if you already know that what the charges will be. Now, it may be that you're on Skype or some other kind of telecommunication system where you can see each other, and that's no cost to you. If that's the case, this is a moot point. But if not, I recommend that you do take into consideration that this will be a new budgetary item for you. And if you're not used to spending great sums of money for your telephone privileges, then you want to know that you're going to talk at a certain time, after a certain hour, from week to week or night to night. Also, in the matter of talking long distance and keeping in mind your budget, because long distance relationships can cost you an awful lot of money trying to keep them going. And sometimes it's reflected in the phone bill, other times it's reflected in gifts that you may give. And other times it may be reflected in the time that you spend attending to the relationship, 3 or 4 calls a day, or trying to stay up late enough to be awake when their time of day approximates yours. So you may lose sleep and energy, and you may even lose focus. So you want to be aware of those kinds of considerations in the matter of long distance relationships. The next thing I do recommend, though, if you can afford it and if you have the time, is to send pictures and songs and this, that, and the other that you know your partner is interested in or might be interested in. That way you get a sense of each other's temperament and each other's quirks and some of the things that each of you actually like and are a part of your being as a person. Also, I recommend that any flowers or gifts that you send always accompany some real statement of love. Rather than "I love you, I'm thinking of you," you might want to say something nice like, when I saw you, those flowers on the picture in the background on the Skype talk we had the other day, it made me know that you probably like these kind of flowers. So I'm sending them to you in real life. Something like that, something real. Also, remember when you send each other songs, try to send songs that are pertinent to the relationship. There are songs that, of course, you like that you want to share, and they may not have anything to do with romance, and that is good. But it is also very good to try to communicate the deep places in your heart through music. I do know that one of the songs that I found most endearing and that touched me pretty deeply was Your Love Is My Love by Whitney Houston. And my love sent me that. I had never heard the song and I didn't know that it existed. So that was very meaningful to me. The next caution I might give you is that talking about deep things like money and health don't come early in the relationship. You have to establish a certain rapport and a certain amount of trust. So unless your partner is showing off in some way about what they have and what they don't have, you want to be very careful about bringing up such subjects too early. Only after you've made a commitment to each other to be together and to plan for a future together should you start to talk about those things. Because you have to align your budgets. You have to align what money you will have to operate with. And then there's so many more things in terms with getting ready to leave one's roots to be with another, depending on which of the two partners makes the choice to actually do the moving. I also would like to suggest to you that in the matter of health, you don't want to talk too much about your disabilities or your problems with health care or anything like that. If it is not central to your life, if you are functioning normally and you are able to get out, get about, and still enjoy your life, go to the movies, play a little miniature golf, whatever it is that you do, ride your bicycle, make sure that you highlight your active life as opposed to talking about the health challenges you've had or do have. And by the same token, you want to listen to your partner, long distance partners, notes on life as well about whether they're healthy, whole, and able to participate fully in the relationship. Often these kind of remarks don't mean very much to the young, but for people who are coming together after age 50, it's very important to know what your health is like and whether or not you have a sustainable body so that you can be in relationship in such a way as to give each other pleasure, to be able to interact, and to be able to do the things that you each have to do separately and together. Um, Age is a number. People often say that. And so it's not so much how old you are, it is how active you are and how positive your thinking may be. However, you can use your mind. If you are still very viable and maybe your body doesn't look like how you look on the inside, but that is the thing you want to keep bringing forth. Also, you need to know your expectations. Do you expect to marry? Do you expect to just date year in and year out and see each other every few months? Do you expect to travel with your partner? That is, set up a life where the two of you go see the world. Do you expect to have sex? And if so, are you a person who expects to have it often? And you should, these are the kinds of things that you gotta know that you're expecting. Who's gonna do the cooking? And can you both cook? Who's gonna handle money? Are you both gonna handle it? How will you manage, put your money together? These are questions that may come a little later, but there are expectations. So be careful not to overlook anything. For myself, I love lots of books, and I love having lots of bookcases. So in the case of expecting to have room for my books, I was very disappointed because I have a smaller space than say I did when I lived back in the United States. So if that's the case, you've got to know already and ahead of time what it is you're expecting to have. So you must talk very, very specifically about what you have and how you'd like to have it, and if that's going to be a possibility. I would like to also tell you that it is very important to think about moving, and you don't want to be foolish with this thing. Too fast to move will cause you regrets. So I will tell you that now. So it's very important to pace the move whenever you decide if you're going to move. Don't go too fast because there are all kinds of little details with creditors, banks, your social security, your status as a citizen. There are all kinds of details with the things you will bring and the things you will leave behind. There are all kinds of details with friends and neighbors, and also your health care. How these things are going to be worked out, but you have to consider almost every detail of your life before you can make such a move. So I encourage you to know that that is one thing about long distance relationships to really be concerned with orchestrating. Um, One of the things about that I will advise again is to visit each other. It is not enough to talk on the phone and not enough to see each other on Skype. You need physical contact. You know many more things with your senses at work, as well as your greater senses, your third eye, and your sensory perception, which resides with you. So when you get in the company of your love, you can not only feel more about what kind of person this is, what kind of moods they might have, but you'll also get a chance to see their habits of bathing or caring for their bodies, orderliness, how they interact with others, if they have friends, and how often they may or may not talk to them. So I am telling you that in the matter of a long distance relationship, it is absolutely a must to visit each other. Excuse me, to visit each other and and to meet family and friends. And it's important to have some questions for family and friends without being too invasive or too rude in asking. So you want to plan to just kind of get 360-degree view of the person you're with and planning on being with in a long distance relationship. I might say something about moving again. Don't get ahead of yourself. You know, try to operate so that you can find out if you can eat together, if you like the same foods, if you have the same sleeping and activity schedule. These are very important variables in whether or not you can operate together. Do you like loud noise in the morning? Can you stand the radio or the television being on? Those are some considerations. Now I want to talk a little bit about sex. Uh, you will probably quite naturally follow Mother Nature's directions, and that is to have natural and spontaneous pleasure-making interactions with each other. But over the phone or over the internet, it may be that you want to do phone sex, as they call it, and that is to thrill each other with the idea of being together until you can be together. And there's nothing wrong with that between consenting adults, and there's nothing wrong with it as long as it meets with the federal communications laws, and you don't break any laws with trying to please each other, as shall we say, virtually. So if you're about to move seriously toward one another and the drive to touch one another and to be together is there, then you have got to visit each other. Because what you talked about in conversations or fantasized about in conversations and in fantasies may not actually be the reality of what you can do when you get together. And that is something to also know, that can you be in a relationship where there's going to be limited ability to do some things. So you must take all of these things into consideration. Again, if you have met on the net or met where in circumstances where you had to meet each other and then part, and then you decided that you take up a relationship to keep it going, then you must visit each other. I might say one last thing or two. I moved to Denmark at age 68 and to be with my life partner, and it took a great deal of sacrifice to do that. I was willing to do it because I feel this is a great love of my life. It may not be so. I may, as I have in the past when I've had great loves, I thought they were the absolute end all and be all. But for love, one has to take the risk. There's no game on planet Earth any better, richer, or more fulfilling than having someone's love and to be able to give yours in return. Giving and receiving love is the great game on planet Earth, and that includes one-on-one personal sweetheart relationships, and that includes loving the planet, loving your neighbor, loving the little doggies and the little critters, and loving each other in your countries, and trying to create government and situations that will keep the flow of goodness alive in our hearts and in our living. So, if you want me, for example, to look at prospects for your love life, have no fear. Send me an email and we'll work out some arrangements, and I'll be very glad to tell you what you can expect. In the matter of ours relationship, I think it will be very successful now that she has some pointers. So, thank you, R, for providing this letter and this opportunity for a topic that concerns many people. And I want to thank you again for listening. Please continue to follow me at Facebook, as Shariananda Beauregard Adams, or follow me at my website, www.bricksite.com/Shariananda. And you can find this video also on YouTube. May the blessings be. I am Shariananda. Essence.